This is Richard Wolff from Democracy at Work responding to another Ask Prof. Wolff question from our Patreon community. And this one comes from Lada Moro. Lada asks a question that I get often. It's basically about patents, copyrights, this whole procedure, very important in modern capitalism, whereby we consider human beings' ideas, discoveries, thoughts, artworks, all kinds of things, as private property. And we allow people to register an idea, a thought, a page of poetry, whatever, in a government agency and acquire what we call, for example, a copyright. If it's an object or a machine, it can be a patent. Same basic idea. What it means is that this idea, this discovery, this new thought, this new way of doing things or thinking about things is your private property. You who registered the document in a government office, Library of Congress, Copyright Office, swearing that this is your and nobody else's invention. You did it on such and such a day, and here's what it is. And if it is recognized by the Copyright Office as a legitimate copyright, it becomes your property for a bunch of years. And what does it mean? It means that you can withhold it from the public's use, from anyone's use. That's all private property means ever. The only sense of private property in a piece of land is that you can tell people, you must get off my land, and because you are the private owner of the land, they must comply, or else you can call the police and have them removed because that property is yours. No one can go on it or use it who does not have your permission. Same with a copyright. No one can use your idea, your invention, your thought, unless you give them permission. And usually the idea is two parts. Number one, you will not give permission unless you are paid for doing so. And number two, that the incentive to develop new ideas, new machines, new thoughts is precisely the amount of money you can get by patenting or copyrighting them. This is an old idea. It's been around a long time. Intellectual property is a general term for it, and it is thought to be extremely important, particularly in a world of developed technology of the sort we now live with. So then the question is, what do we think about intellectual property? And there's an interesting recent movement around the issue of copyright, your right that nobody can copy, that was the original idea, your poem, your essay, your book, or anything like that, without your permission. Copyright. You have the right to control any copying of something, reproducing it, using it without your permission. Okay. This old idea has a new form. Namely, it's a critical idea. This is no good. Why? Because you as an individual can withhold information, intellectual achievements you've made that you've copyrighted from the rest of the world. If they don't pay you what you demand, you deny them access. They can't get it. They can't use it without your permission. And if you don't give the permission, maybe because they won't pay you enough, then human progress, the critics have always argued, comes to an end because your private property trumps it. The defense has been, if you want the breakthrough, if you want the new achievement, you have to allow people to have a copyright or a patent so they can cash in on it. This strikes me as childish because it makes a mistake, a logical mistake, but the kind that capitalism and private property have always made. It's one thing to say you want to create an incentive. It's another thing to give people patent or copyrights. Let me explain. We could celebrate intellectual achievements, not by making them property, but by making them in a regular, socially recognized way the basis for awards and recognitions of all kinds. Maybe once a month we have Inventor Award Night across the country. We establish commissions that study the range of new ideas over the last 6 months, decides which are the most socially important, and recognize, reward, award those who came up with them. Give them some money if you want. Give them a medal. Give them a plaque. Give them a chance to talk about their work and what they hope to achieve. Come up with an interesting set of valuable forms of rewarding and recognizing. There's loads of possibilities. We do not have to give people the right to withhold what they have come up with. It's, of course, obviously poignant in medicine. If I come up with a new compound that can cure people, I should not have the right to withhold that from others. If I've come up with an invention or a new understanding of some chemical, I should publish it as soon as I know it and have demonstrated it, so that it's available for all the other scientists who can take it for their work in all kinds of directions. I shouldn't have the right to stop that, to block it, to delay it for years. We have to balance the community's need to know as soon as possible with the incentive we want to give to people to come up with it. For those people where it's not enough incentive to have done something really good for the human race, to have given something back to the community that, after all, gave you the information, the education, the wherewithal, the facilities to come up with your work, if that's not enough, okay. How about an award? How about a tax cut? How about a cash gift? I mean, there's hundreds of things we can do without slowing human progress by making it the private property of an individual. That's the issue. To simply say we must do it or else there won't be inventions is silly. Long before there were any copyrights, people invented things. And the alternatives to copyrights are obvious and are probably much more valuable. Capitalists, they want to be able to milk what they do for the maximum return. That's the way this system is set up. We can understand it without thinking we have to bow down and accept it when its contradiction to human progress is as obvious as it is. And there is a movement doing it. There are actually several. One of them is a clever name. It's called copyleft, the opposite of copyright. And it's a part of a large movement to open up, to end these private properties, and to see that the human race has more to gain from opening up and freeing up intellectual achievements than it has from making them private property. That is a feature of capitalism that more and more people don't want much to do with. This is Richard Wolff for Democracy at Work.